So we talked a lot about customer data. We talked a lot about email marketing. I want to get back to my sales buy-in questions.
Sure. Okay.
You. So we're looking at putting a CRM system in, and we want to know. We're making sure to get buy-in from the sales team. So another question we ask is, would it be beneficial to roll out initiatives and goals that are important to your company's success? So what we're saying is, we know we have goals. We know we have KPIs. How are we rolling that out to the sales team? And the sales team wants to understand those things.
Sure.
Right?
Yep.
So
of course it is, right?
Right.
Like that's how you're supposed to run a business.
Yeah.
Hey, we do $2 million in revenue this year. Let's try to do 2.5 next year.
Yeah.
How are we going to get there?
How are we going to get there?
Right.
Exactly.
And I think especially as independent sales organizations, and manufacturers reps, we probably do a lot of squeaky wheel reacting rather than actual planning.
Yeah, staying focused on the strategy.
Yeah, on the strategy and what manufacturers do we classify as growth manufacturers that we want to put the time and the energy into? Which ones are we on shaky grounds with in terms of long-term relationships, and maybe put less time into those? Yeah. What I find is, if you don't have goals, you then become completely self-directed in your sales force, right? Everybody just cherry picks what they feel like doing. Right. They get into comfort modes a lot, right?
Kind of pray and you make the number at that point.
And then it becomes the, manufacturer calls you up and says, hey, what have you done for me lately, Mr. Rep? Yeah. And you immediately go into reaction mode and you immediately start calling all of your salespeople. Right. You immediately start your creative writing exercises as part of that. Trying to put together a report to send to the manufacturer VP of sales to say, here's what we're doing to earn those commission checks. That may work for some people, but it's pretty stressful. Yeah. Right? And so I if you can have a more planned, organized goals saying, here's how strategically we're going to march through the woods. Right. That helps.
It enables your sales team.
It enables your sales team. It gets everybody swimming the same direction.
And you want them to be able to visualize those goals, meaning see them on some kind of dashboard. So here's a couple other. I'm going to do a rapid fire questions on the next couple here. So would it be beneficial to have a list of quotes to a customer you're going to see? Would it be beneficial to?
I'm not sure these are questions, are they?
Surface orders or invoice data on your phone? Would it be beneficial to see past conversations that you or anyone else in your company has had? Would it be beneficial to see emails you or anyone in your company has sent a customer? So let's talk about, just real quick, talk about those in whichever order you want.
Sure. Quotes and samples, even items you lend that you need to get back from people.
There you go.
Right. Yeah. We call those lend items in our system. Obviously that's the first point of traction that you're going to have that starts working towards sales and toward commissions, right? Going into your wallet as a salesperson. So that's kind of a given. And what happens to a lot of people, I think, is you just get copied on a quote. You're too busy because you're in the whirlwind. You're out making sales calls. 2 or 3 days go by. You've already forgotten about it.
Yeah.
And
do we send that to them?
Just, you're throwing it into the quote black hole with a hope that your salespeople are going to follow up on that. Right. Especially if you have an internal quote group that's doing those quotes by themselves and looping in the outside people or the inside people. Alternatively, if the manufacturers themselves, if you're a rep, are making those quotes, you just get copied on it, and it's up to you to follow up on it, and you should, and you have every intent of doing it. But, you're probably doing that on the A-lister quotes. Yeah. You're probably not doing that on the C and D lister quotes. But that's money that just with a little bit of touch on that C-level quote, it's not huge dollars, but worth a phone call. Mm-hmm. If you can just knock that out right there in the moment, like you're gonna earn more commissions. Bottom line, right? So that's the quote side. Yeah. Orders, not everybody tracks orders because the energy burn to do that.
And we are going to talk later on about if you want to track orders, how do you do it? That's more of a rep fabric specific discussion. But go ahead.
Well, so the bottom line is, especially as outsourced field sales agencies, right? You don't always have visibility into the quotes between your manufacturer and their distributor, and they might go via EDI, or you may just not even see them at all because they're in a supply chain over in Asia somewhere, and that's fine. So not everybody tracks those, but when you can track them and it's worth tracking them, obviously that's super important for that same fan blade reason, which is, hey, I quoted you, I'm following up on it. And then, the customer says, well, I placed that order 3 days ago. Why are you bothering me? Right. And so that's why you need to know that. Or alternatively, we actually have some of our customers that police their manufacturers to say, have you shipped that yet?
Oh, really?
Right.
Yeah.
And so that's also important, again, to almost work on behalf of your customer, to add value to them so that they don't have to chase your manufacturer to find out why that product didn't show up on their dock.
Right. So a couple other ones here. So sales buy-in questions for CRM. So would it be beneficial to receive a daily reminder on when you need to follow up on a project? So that's a project black hole you just talked about. Have the ability to assign a task to an inside person or others in your company that includes you, that you can see and see what actions have been taken on that task.
Sure. And everybody has expertise, right?
Right.
And so assign it to the expert that can knock it out the fastest.
Right. Yeah. So,
and that could be pulling parts from the warehouse. That could be, doing an engineering design on a pump.
Yeah.
Or something more difficult.
Well, the one I saw live happen is one of our wholesalers on Disty Fabric. The customer had questions about the payment terms, right? Mm-hmm. So they assign it to the accounts payable people or receivable people, right? Yeah. So send it to the finance person. Don't send it to my inside person. I have to track that down. So you send it to the right person. All right. You talked about tracking samples. You can do that. So we talked about that. Have the ability to plan or see your day. Okay. So we talked about drop-in calls before. Yeah. The ability to plan your day with Outlook or Gmail calendar integrated into your mobile app. Would that be beneficial for a salesperson? I think the answer, of course, is yes. These are pretty leading questions, I guess, aren't they?
Again, I'm not sure they're questions.
And then would it be beneficial to use, and I do want you to talk about this functionality, would it be beneficial to use the nearby function to see what customers are close to you in the moment? So talk about what that
absolutely
means.
Yeah. So again, back to the kind of the drop-in side of things. There's certain sets of customers that are always happy to see you. You want to drop in there. You may even do some education, right? Like if they're a customer that has a counter that they sell from as a distributor or wholesaler, drop in, see what's going on the counter, show the counter team. Here's some new things you guys might not be aware of. You want to pitch some of this. Hey, can I put that display right there? Those kinds of things happen naturally. Mm-hmm. Alternatively, if you're in those engineering style of sales calls, you might have a call that cancels on you. Mm-hmm. Hey, my 2:00 at Lockheed Martin canceled because the engineer you're supposed to meet is sick. Well, who else is around here that I can use this time productively with? Right. And so I can look at my accounts. I can see what we call that pre-call briefing. Mm-hmm. What are the quotes, samples, opportunities, orders, sales numbers, what's around here, so I can on a map actually have laid out, this would be a worthwhile filler call to still be productive.
And the map is color coded by company type too. Right. So the wholesalers are going to be a different color than the contractors and the engineers and those kind of things.
Right.
Depending on what kind of call
and the OEMs could be similarly color coded.
Gotcha.
Military folks, because if you got a manufacturer that specializes in military products, you want to obviously call on them.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So
that's cool.
Yeah.
So I would say to put a bow on the CRM buy-in questions, I would just say if anybody wants to get a list of these questions, let us know. We'll probably publish them with this as well, just so you can see them. Again, this works for any CRM system with the functionality that we'd have. So,
but ours is the best.
So. Of course.